Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and I have for you a Cyberpunk meal. Within this meal, there's some bad, but we have some good seasoning on top to spice the meal up, to flavor up the palate a bit, and provide some zing. So we're going to go back and forth here. Some bad news, some good news, and then some bad news. Now, this is bolognese, so this isn't bad, but I had to use something as an example. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope all of you are doing fantastic today as we're going to talk about Cyberpunk 2077 and the next-gen versions of this title, which serves as probably the best chance for a bounce back with this game. Furthermore, we're going to talk about modders joining CD Projekt Red, and even the patch 1.3, which was the biggest patch for Cyberpunk yet, breaking part of the game in one of the more hilarious fashions. It's wild, but with that, ladies and gentlemen, if you are new here and you're looking for more Cyberpunk updates, consider subscribing. Let's talk about that next-gen update. As I said, this is really important for CD Projekt Red to nail in the terms of quality, but also the release timing is more important than people may realize. But let's read an update that comes from Video Games Chronicle on what's happening with the next-gen version of both Cyberpunk and The Witcher 3. In an earnings call to update investors, CD Projekt Red said, "The target is to release the next-gen version of Cyberpunk 2077 late this year. At the same time, keeping in mind the lessons we have learned during the past year and taking into account that this project still remains in development, we can't say with full certainty that the production schedule will not change." With The Witcher 3, the situation is slightly different in the way that this is being tackled by the external team mainly, which is Saber Interactive, the company that we have worked with before on Switch and also with updates in the past. As with Cyberpunk 2077, our goal is to release the game in late 2021. However, similarly, the development process is ongoing and we cannot be absolutely dead certain that the release schedule will not change. But for the time being, we definitely are aiming for both titles for late 2021, and I don't want to be more specific at this moment in time. Hey, completely understood. That's a good sign. They're not speaking and overcompensating. They're just saying, we're working on it, here's our aim, and we'll see if it gets out. I find it hard to believe that they're going to launch both the next-gen versions of these games at the same time. I think one of them gets bumped into 2022, and I genuinely think that's going to be Cyberpunk. The Witcher 3 being handled by Saber Interactive, who, by the way, did a very, very good job on the Witcher 3 port for the Nintendo Switch. I feel like they got this one locked down. They haven't shown they are incompetent yet, whereas something with CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk 2077 to me screams, take all the time you need. And gee, I wonder why I feel that way. But beyond that, I did say just before this that the release timing is as important as the quality. Of course, we want something good, and I think word of mouth is going to do a lot for this game. I also think Game Pass has the potential to really help save Cyberpunk if they release their next-gen update alongside a Game Pass release where people can actually get in and try it, because I don't know how many people are itching to actually pay for the game. I think it's going to be a situation of, you go first. I'm not buying it. You go first. And a lot of reviewers are going to have to do a very good job describing what this product is. But beyond that, the reason the release timing is important is as simple as this. Look at the beginning of 2022. It is insane already. You see, there are two storms brewing, and they're about to collide into video game greatness. We have a lot of delayed pandemic games that are going to start to come out in 2022. Then, for 2022 in general, this is the second year in a new console generation where you start to see them kick the dust off their boots of all the previous gen stuff. There's enough adoption of the new consoles, so you're going to start to see more games because that's where things really speed up, and it's typically one of the best years of the generation. So while Cyberpunk was something that was really exciting as a PS4 and Xbox One game, now they're standing toe-to-toe with games that are going to start to come out exclusively on next gen. Well, what they were doing that was impressive, yes, get this, just less than a year ago, may be less impressive by the time we get into 2022 when we've played the likes of Elden Ring, for example. So that's where I think CD Projekt Red needs to tread carefully. There are plenty of people, myself included, who are invested in Cyberpunk and want to see them bounce back. I want to play the expansions. I want to play the next-gen version. I want to go all in on that stuff. And I think they're going to take their time and release it in 2022. But there is that missed opportunity, the potential of them missing out on the sales that they do need to justify continuing to support this game and not making it a complete sunk cost post-launch, by the way, because the game itself was successful and profitable. So there's a lot to toy around with there. Obviously, that latter part of when they release it, how successful they can be, does not really apply to us in the sense of consumer enjoyment, it doesn't really matter. But I think in the long run, this can be an important decision that impacts everyone, especially given, get this, we got to look for time to play the game. So there's a lot there, but that's really what's going on with the next-gen version of Cyberpunk 2077. Let's move into some good news here. So modders have continuously saved big RPGs. It's a commonality here. Bethesda Game Studios and CD Projekt Red have really benefited from their modding community, and now CD Projekt Red is doing what I think is a good thing, and that is hiring modders. Now, I saw a lot of people going, pointing and laughing, and to me, I don't get that. I don't understand what's so funny about this. So let's read first, and then I'll give my reactions. We are working with Yigsoft on the development of Cyberpunk 2077 modding tools, a CD Projekt Red representative confirms to us via email. The modding community has always been very important to us, and we are happy to be working with them side by side on further expanding the tools which are available to modders. We are extremely pleased to announce that Blumster, Night Maria, Arfuso, and I will be joining CD Projekt Red under my and Night Maria's company. Sorry if I'm saying all these usernames wrong. Hambalco Trade Rain Bent says in an announcement on the Cyberpunk 2077 modding Discord. We will be working on various projects related to Cyberpunk 2077's backend and the game's modding support. We are really excited for this, and we are really hoping we can help bring Cyberpunk 2077 to the next level. So yeah, they're hiring modders who have done a good job helping fix the game and bring it to new levels. We've even created modding tools for The Witcher 3. And some people were like, oh, that's sad. Yeah, you got to get the fans to fix your game. I mean, to me, I'm like, good. This is a smart hire. They get something that other employees either aren't seeing or aren't understanding or aren't quick to pick up on or are getting but are slower to fix. If the modders can get the game back on track quicker, that's all there is to it. That's why a lot of people are always vying for Bethesda Game Studios to start scooping up modders and modding projects and start helping fund them. Because sometimes the brutal honesty is, and I know that a lot of the ego will be bruised here, modders can at times do a better job than professional game developers. Some of their projects can be very impressive. I look at what Skyblivion's doing, and then I look at some of the remaster efforts of Bethesda Game Studios, and yeah, Skyblivion absolutely blows all of them out of the water. And it's like, well, if there's a chance, why don't you hire these people and help get behind this project? And I know there's some legality, there's some pride to that, like, oh, we don't want to hire the fans to do this. But I think that unnecessary separation shouldn't even exist in the first place. But beyond that, I think this is smart. I think it's a good move, and it helps get the game back on track with people familiar with it, and also, not only familiar, passionate. People who care enough to not only say, hey, this game is in trouble, but that I'm going to go to the length of fixing it in my spare time, and in turn, earning themselves a job. So congrats to them. The last bit of news is hilarious, but also just one of those, you can't help but rub your eyebrows a little bit and go, what is going on here? So patch 1.3 drops, right? And it's this big patch, and I've said this to you all before, so pardon me for sounding like a broken record, but patches will introduce more problems at times than fixes. Now, in the case of Cyberpunk 2077's patch 1.3, there are a lot of issues, there are a lot of bugs that people were still experiencing, as to be expected, but one of them is pretty significant because it deleted part of the game. Yes, really. So let's read. The headline for this article comes from Forbes. It's titled, Cyberpunk 2077 confirms it accidentally deleted reflective roads with patch 1.3, which, as you can see in this video here, there are no wet streets in patch 1.3. The write-up says, Kotaku compared this to Puddlegate, the famous controversy over the presence of puddles in Spider-Man, but in this instance, it's a little less stupid and more of an actual bug, which CD Projekt Red has now acknowledged. They told Kotaku that, quote, we looked into it and have confirmed wetness will be returning in a future update, end quote. Is it the biggest deal in the world? No, I view it more as a salt in the wound kind of moment because things like this do happen in significant patches. Certain things slip through the cracks. I understand that. But with CD Projekt Red, they are in a position where people are watching very closely as they stitch this game together, as they perform surgery on this game. And so things like this that are typically, I would say, non-stories that are handled within communities on forum posts become full-on headlines and stories worth talking about, because a lot of people are consistently wondering, hey, this game that looked pretty good, is it at a state yet where I can play it? So people want to know, are things breaking with new patches? And that's why these make their way into the news roundups. So it's ultimately a little bit disappointing, but is this a game breaker that I think should push people away? No, I would say honestly in my video following up, Cyberpunk 2077's patch 1.3 that there was a little bit more than reflective roads to worry about. But still, the sad part here is they deleted part of the game. They deleted it. They got rid of it, and then they confirmed it, right? So it wasn't speculation. It wasn't like Kotaku said with Puddlegate. It was actually, okay. Well, that's all I've got for you on the front of Cyberpunk 2077. A lot of news this week for the game. And I mean, hey, I get a feeling that this new gen version will probably land sometime in late November or early December if they are going to release it in 2021. But if they're not sure now and it's September, I am hoping genuinely that they are going to push this out until 2022. I think that gives it the best chance to succeed, especially when you see patch 1.3 breaking a couple of things. The game clearly isn't in its most stable form yet with all these patches there on, for my case, PC, where it should be running the best. And if it's not there, then I don't know what a new gen console update is going to do if they just launched their biggest update yet less than a month ago at this point in time. So very funky position for CD Projekt Red, and I think it's all but assured that it should be, emphasis on should be, because we don't know if they're going to do it, a 2022 release. But The Witcher 3 in 2021, not too bad. So keep an eye out for that one. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I pass it off to you. What do you think of the latest Cyberpunk 2077 news? Let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the hell out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.